devices are all silenced. And please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our first order of business tonight actually is we previously scheduled a public hearing on the general code for the village for solid waste for garbage. So I have to open that up. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by trustee Keith, second by trustee Simpson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Is Ellen here tonight?
Yes, sir.
Hi. So Ellen is here tonight from the St. Lawrence, she's the Deputy Director for Solid Waste from St. Lawrence County. She's gonna give us a lot of information on that tonight, stuff that we might want to put into the code. So I would recommend not taking action on the local law tonight, but still have the public hearing and any questions that we have, and we can take action on the actual law itself at a future board meeting, whether that be the September meeting or the October meeting. Okay? So actually, Ellen, if that's okay, I'd kind of like to have you give us a presentation as part of the public hearing to start. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so why don't we do that? So we'll give the floor to you to start.
Where would you like me to stand?
Whichever you feel comfortable, it's fine by me.
Just making sure I'm not in somebody's way. So I'll be right here if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the invitation to come to the meeting tonight. As Chairman said, my name is Ellen Hooker. I am the Deputy Director of Solid Waste at the Canton office. And under my direction, I have the 4 transfer stations of Massena, Augsburg, Governor, and Star Lake. I also have 3 operating closed landfills. And by the mean of being operating, it means the idea we still have to maintain them because we still have to haul leachate out of those areas. And that will include the one here in Massena, the one in Augsburg, and the one in Canton Pirates area. Due to the fact that the pricing and everything has been fluctuating, we try to do a pricing at once a year. Unfortunately, last year, prior to my arrival, as I've only been with the division for 4 months, there was 2 price changes. Once in October of 2023 and then again in January of 2024. This year, coming of 2025, where we dispose of your trash, your solid waste, actually are going to be jumping their rates again. So therefore, getting on board with the village and seeing where things are going to go is helping them to help us see what we can do to help everyone out for the county. As we understand, there is a control flow law in this county. All trash stays within the county. It is not to be hauled out of county, such as Franklin County, because they have their own control flow law. So all trash in St. Lawrence County remains in St. Lawrence County by going to our transfer stations or going to be picked up by our common haulers and taking it down to Dane, which is the landfill down in Rodman, because there is a partnership between St. Lawrence County, Jefferson County, and Lewis County. So we help maintain that one particular landfill, therefore that's our partnership, and we respect all materials to be taken care of properly. There are some limitations and restrictions that New York State DEC puts on to Dane, and these restrictions are asking that we continue to do our best to try to provide guidance, understanding that recyclables are not to be put into your solid waste. And I do know with your public works, you actually have recyclable day bins and you have your regular solid waste bins. We are asking because the idea what's coming down the pipeline from Dane under the DEC law is that they can actually start harping on us and start fining us with regards to the type of materials that are being hauled in. And therefore, it all comes back to where the source is, and it all comes back to residents, it comes back to businesses and our schools. And we're asking for everybody to do their particular in trying to keep the recyclables separate. Do not put your plastics 1 through 7 in your solid waste. Do not put your cardboard in, do not put glass bottles in. We do, and tin and your metal and different things like that. We ask that though, those type of containers be cleaned to the best of your ability. We don't want them spick and span where you had to throw them in the dishwasher, but try to have them clean enough so the recycling service that we deal with out of Liverpool, New York, will accept them and not look them as contaminated materials. Once they're considered contaminated, then they can kind of come back and charge us, and then therefore, by getting us charged, it just means eventually the prices need to be raised up even farther higher than we already want. We are not like the stock market. We do not fluctuate our prices on what the diesel fuel price, the gas price is, or anything like that, or even what's being sold in the grocery stores. We set our price, it's hoping that we can get by where our equipment, whether it be our trucks, whether it be our trailers, whether it be our compactors that are utilized by the services, can continue to work for us. Some of the trailers are dated in 1994, so they're 30-year-old trailers that are still running up and down the highway. It's maintenance. It's the cost of a new one. I already know the price of a brand new trailer to haul your waste is $150,000, and that's a piece of equipment without a motor in it. So you can just imagine what's happening to the price of your cars and your vehicles. Well, you might want to come back and triple that on us, on our price of our vehicles. And it's not something that, our services are not paid by tax dollars. We are considered an enterprise fund, so therefore it's a charge that we put out to the customer, being yourselves, and helping us pay for the services. There is no tax dollar of St. Lawrence County providing our services and our coverage. At the same time, like I say, we're hauling your material, but we also have to have the fee high enough to be able to maintain the 3 landfills that are still been active here in St. Lawrence County that were closed over 30 years ago. DEC is also now going to be coming out with additional testing of our leachate from all our facilities, because everybody's starting to hear about the PFAS. It's the breakdown of the chemical, of the plastic, that sometimes is being presentable in our leachate from the solid waste that was disposed of. We truck that to your village water treatment center. We need to try and keep that out as best as we can so it does not cause problems like a clogged artery. This PFAS can cause problems for your lines as well. And then they're trying to get rid of it, they get rid of it back in the landfill. So it's just a snowball effect that we're all trying to do our best, and we ask that we do our best in all the generations going through to make sure that, you know, this is going to be continuation service, and we're trying to keep our prices down the best we can. Understanding with the local law that I just was aware of tonight, so therefore I don't have much more information other than reviewing your first page. Pretty much everything right there looks dead on with regards to the type of materials that you have selected and have directed out differently. There are some areas that are trying to do composting. The Village of Canton has a setup over in their highway department where an individual originally from New York City has tried to start that, and at the same time trying to get on with some of the colleges, the nursing home, and some of the elementary schools. The idea that it's not real feasible because the way this whole county is spread out, that one area is going to be the best at composting. If it's something that, you know, may be looked upon, it might be something we can do through the DEC regards to doing individual composting barrel services type that. But other than that, that is nothing at this time that I can really say that our department is going to be putting right into effect. Possibly in time, speaking now, we have parks in Canton and SUNY Canton, Potsdam, all in one area. It might be feasible there, but sometimes these other agencies is being so widespread, we don't have the equipment to be able to do it. We're also down on manpower. Unfortunately, people don't like the idea of hearing of the trash or the dump. I prefer we do not use those things because we're actually called transfer stations, and I look at trash being solid waste. So therefore, if somebody wants to be on the negative side, I'll let you know that I don't like the word dump in our communication. So the idea that try to protect us the best that you can, we're trying to protect you too by helping with the other agencies keeping your streets clean. We do actually have a paint care program. I'll leave the packets here so anybody can have them. Paint care is a agency that you pay when you purchase paint at your hardware stores, and you are charged a tax to this. Therefore, now the services have provided a collection. So whatever's left over of your paint services will not be found in the solid waste side of it. They actually will collect it, they'll strain it, they'll be able to reuse it. We we are hoping that by September 5th, I think that's the first Thursday of the month, that we'll have this service in effect at the Canton Highway Department up at 44 Park Street. We will take all your leftover paint for free. Also and we'll continue doing that for the month of September, October, November, shut down for winter, and hopefully weather will open it back up for April and continue along every first Thursday of the month. Also on September 28th, we will have our second Household Hazardous Waste Day for your collection services. We had one back in May in Canton. This last one will be in Canton as well, over on 310 at the Human Resource Building. There you will still be able to get rid of all your paint, minerals, and everything else, but also pesticides, fluorescent light bulbs, mercury light bulbs. Sometimes we also have boxes just for your DeWalt and your Milwaukee batteries. But anything chemical-wise, everything that you don't feel comfortable putting in your solid waste trash, because we ask that it not go there, hold it off to the side. September 28th, we'll have another collection day. Regards to your batteries, your AAA, AA, your lithium, also rechargeable, and your Milwaukee ones are all acceptable at your transfer station. When you come to the scale house, just tell the gentlemen that are there that you have batteries. They'll take them right there from you, and we'll turn around and get them disposed of. Also, don't forget, we have electronic waste, which is not acceptable in your solid waste. So therefore, e-waste that we call it, or electronic waste, it has a recycling bin. All your metal has recycling bin. Tires. Tires is going to be the big thing that we're trying to help out with. About 10 years ago, Mrs. Ritchie, Senator Ritchie, had a program where it was Take Back the Tire program. And therefore, your tires were coming back for free. Due to the fact you also pay a state fee of $2.50 a tire, we're going to have some resolutions coming upon our board. And if the Village of Massena would like to join us, we're trying to see how many other communities we can get to back up a good resolution, present to Senator Steck and Senator Walczyk to go to Albany and get this program back in effect. The problem that a lot of people don't realize is it is bringing around the virus of the EEE, which is hazardous and deadly to horses, and it can also cause harm to humans. So the idea, not allowing the tires to collect water, not having ponds. I know that the Soil Conservation Department and the DEC every once in a while have the dumps available to put in standing water to kill the larvae of mosquitoes. But we're going to see if possibly next year and years going forward, we can get some of that money that you paid on your tires to help clear up the county. Because a lot of times we are, as Marty Miller of your highway department can confer, along with other highways, we are finding them still on the side of the roads as people have just dropped them off and discarded them. Some people even call us in the highway garage and tell us that they're finding them on the front lawns. So the idea that by providing some of our free services that you're not paying for, we're trying to eat the facility up for everyone, and tires is going to be one that I'm trying to push for, because unfortunately up here we do have the Amish and the Mennonite. They're losing their transportation by this virus, and so therefore this is the only way that we can help protect them. We also have young youth who do the horse showing for fair and everything else, and they love going to the fair to show the horses, and it could possibly happen to cows and everything else that we have dairy farmers relying upon. So upon just a quick review of your law, I don't see anything at this time that needs to be changed. I will take it back with me, sir, and continue to review it for the next couple of days and get a message back to you. Okay? As I say, I do have packets, pamphlets for the paint program. I also have flyers for the Household Hazardous Waste Day. I'll tell you what we do accept and do not accept. My phone number is on the website, so if anybody has any questions, concerns, you can also send an email as a person just asking a quick question, and I will make sure that phone call is returned to you. But if anybody has any questions, concerns for me, I'm on yours.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that textiles are no longer being accepted at the transfer station.
At this time, they are not. Our venue that takes them is down in Syracuse. We've been having some problems in the process. They've had a conveyor belt go down. They've had some textile fires. At the same time, it's just, we are shorthanded at this minute to be able to get them all transported. So therefore, we have made some communication to our county legislators to see what their requests and wishes, to the fact that at this time we have 8 boxes completely full of clothing from all 4 sites. And with not having a venue on the other Syracuse uses animal bedding when they mix it. So we're trying to find some other avenues for a lot of the services that the county has offered in the past. Just some now avenues have been closed down to us, and there's only one site right now in Syracuse. I was at the facility back in May, and I bet you there was well over 2,000 bales of clothing just sitting on the dock that had not moved. And I know during COVID, it had a lot of problems trying to get rid of a lot of the plastic, cardboard, and everything else that the industry was always so open to. There's still a lot of restrictions, and we're trying our best to be able to accommodate all the needs.
Just to tag on to that.
Yes,
So,
sir.
So as it stands, because it's our cleanup time, right?
Yes,
In the
sir.
village. So you can't throw away textiles, correct?
You can throw them away as
You can.
solid waste.
You can,
Yes, sir.
okay.
There's nothing states that
I
it
hate
can't.
to do that.
Exactly, exactly. I've had a couple different agencies call me, and in the past, even like with St. Lawrence University, when they clean out from the end of their school year, I'm telling people, offer them to your nursing homes, offer them to your ARC homes, different things like that. So, because some people may not have family members that are able to deliver clothing. Some may have lost their clothing due to fires or other issues. So the idea that, and even if it's smaller clothing, I offered it to some of the schools, elementary schools, different things. Unfortunately, I know some of the American Red Cross people and stuff, they don't have warehouses anymore. Massena used to have St. Vincent de Paul, the next closest one is in Watertown. And I know not everybody travels, but the idea might be able to, like ARC and nursing homes and the schools. And
Just to
that's,
tag on for some people that don't know, the community center, the neighborhood center takes clothes, St. Peter's takes clothes. My wife and I,
Salvation Army takes
my wife and I, 2 weeks ago, she cleansed all the kids' stuff, right? And we donated a ton. So my issue is we have pillows. Nobody wants to use pillow, right? And I got them in the bag and I was hoping to recycle them, so maybe, I hate to put them in the dump. Maybe I'll hold on to them for a little bit and maybe we can recycle them.
the other thing that was being taken advantage of is people were actually, because of unloading myself when I went to in May, I was unloading people's garbage, also vacuum cleaners, microwaves, dishes, different things like that. That was not part of the acceptable program. And so therefore, when that type of stuff gets delivered to their doorstep, that's to them is contaminated. So by the time you look at it, it's a waste. And that's what's been happening to some of it in the past. It's not been that way every way. I do know this program's been going on for quite a few years. Just the idea that we're got our hands tied at this time too.
You weren't here last month, we had some good conversation about garbage, right?
Yes, sir.
I think the village, we do a great job, and my concern was, we do a great job. It's the private haulers that don't do a great job, and my concern is that they're not gonna do a great job, and then we're gonna end up paying for it. So moving forward, what can these private haulers expect? Is there gonna be somebody there to make sure they're not doing something that's wrong, and then we as taxpayers in the village have to pay for that?
No, so what's coming about is the DANK authority on behalf of all three counties just recently submitted a letter that will be going out to all the haulers and stating the fact that through the New York State DEC rules and regulations that have been set forth, that we will now start inspecting, whether it be my division or whether it be DANK coming in, or whether also DEC does come around. They did an inspection at the Massena transfer station about 3 weeks ago. A letter will be going out to all the private haulers and all the regular haulers as well, regards to how the services are to be rendered. And if we find that there's more material in there that's recyclable and not on the solid waste being disposed of at a transfer station, which also ends up being down at their facility, they can reject it. And so therefore, if that's the situation, that's where we're trying to get ahead of the game, because the idea that we will actually have inspection reports that will go to the haulers and let them know that they've been inspected, and then therefore they'll be on notice. And DANK, along with the DEC, can actually penalize and also fine the haulers. So therefore, it's the same thing. If you are picked up by the village of Massena and you start putting in the wrong material for them to pick up, and they turn around and they come back and get you, guess what? You're probably gonna be the one paying the fine. Because this is what we're trying to prevent from happening.
So I had a village resident approach me last week and with all of our garbage stock here, right? He goes, I'm just not gonna put it out, I'm gonna get a private hauler to take whatever I want. This is what, so, okay,
Stand in line because it's gonna be,
okay.
it's gonna be
So-
given to everyone.
That's why I appreciate you giving that
Yes, sir.
information to us.
And those letters are available for selection to read. It's just the idea that we, as a partnership, are trying to protect the environment. We're also trying to get rid of the recyclables, which will no longer take up space in the landfill, because the idea, this is the only facility you, as a county, have. So, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Have you tried anywhere else to, because I know people are taking hauling trash to Franklin County because they say it's so much cheaper.
Well,
Now, I mean, I believe if I may be wrong on this, but I think our garbage has gone up, I think twice already.
yep, it has. So, 2023 was one price as of January, and then it raised in October 1st of 2023, and then it went up again in 2024, January 1st. Well, under the New York State, the local law was filed, first year I think was 1991, when the DEC came about and made SWATA. That was the first initial development part of your solid waste division. The control flow law was in effect then, and it stays into effect now. There are some exemptions, like the St. Regis Mohawk Tribe, because it borders both counties, and they actually do have services where they pick up trash and also pick up recyclables. So each county gets both through the tribal services. The idea that, I'm sorry, we are a group of 13, and unfortunately I cannot be out there as a cop. The DEC can be out there and do their positions, and the idea that if by chance haulers are caught, they are violating the local law, and they can be fined upon what the county board decides upon. So it is enforceable. You know, it's just the idea that the state troopers and the village police are not going to be the ones doing it. It has to come up from a higher authority as far as county-wise to be able to do that. But we are aware of that, and it's the same time Franklin County has some that come over here, and it's been a battle, I understand, and that's what happens when you do have smaller towns like North Lawrence and Nickelville and different ones along the county line that go that direction. We just sometimes hope that even with Casella, who still operates in both counties, they pick up in St. Lawrence County, it remains in St. Lawrence. What they pick up in Franklin remains in Franklin. So therefore, we're working with everybody to try our best to control it. It's just some days it's not the easiest thing to, other than tracking or following a truck around. And I'm sorry, I don't have time, nor do our employees always have that capability as well.
Right? I mean, it's getting to the point where people can't survive right now. It just keeps going up and up and up. I mean,
Yep. And I know you can't burn, you know,
No.
so it's that. So that's why by doing the recycling, you know, we have the stickers. So therefore, the stickers are like, you can put in a big 55-gallon plastic bag and fill all your recyclables in that. That one sticker will take care of that whole bag. Now, if you're a commercial hauler and you're picking up recyclables, you know, the mixed cardboard and everything else, then they're paying by weight. So the idea, as long as it can be bagged, you go up, you open up your bag, and you dump it back in. Therefore, you just got rid of a lot of stuff that is not going to make the landfill. And unfortunately, say, the food waste is getting to be that type of scenario too that's taking up space. And that's where Dank is saying it's got to kind of been changed on, because they have just been recently audited, I believe in March of this past year, and they were found of what has been violated and what's burning up more space than usable for solid waste that can be decomposed.
Anyone on the board have questions?
Thank you very much, sir.
Marty, I just had a question in terms of the code. I thought we talked about it the last meeting, where I see under number 3, no more than 5 34-gallon containers of garbage, waste, or recycle shall be placed. I thought we talked about allowing for a 45-gallon recyclable bin only.
Oh, okay, so we're saying the recyclables with the 45, and then the garbage with the
still no
Yeah.
more than 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And the idea being that, well, usually the recyclables are a lot lighter than garbage.
If you were to do that, Greg, it would go to then possibly 4 cans, right?
Yeah,
Right.
I would hope though, like at Christmas,
Yeah.
we all know that gets cycled everywhere. An exception we make is sometimes people just have so much recyclables and stuff. So, yeah, that would be fine by me, I don't know anybody else.
So you're good then with the 45-gallon recycling and 34-gallon garbage?
Yes.
I guess my only caveat, if we're gonna do 145, like me at home, I have the 34, so is that, are we gonna keep it that I would still be able to do 5? Or are we gonna reduce it 4 for everybody?
Great point.
Not that I ever put 5 out, I never do, maybe someone does. Normally it's 1 garbage and 2 recycled for me, so.
So I guess, I mean, if you're gonna have 5 cans, I guess it could be recycling, the ones you have earmarked for recycling then are gonna be 45, and the ones you earmarked for garbage would be 34. So if you have 4 and 1, you got 3, you know what I mean? I guess
Up to
that's,
5.
we're gonna know, right? 34 is garbage and the 45 is recycled, so
Yeah.
whatever you're gonna know your own household, what you got more of, so, if you,
And that truck, I saw it the other day, that's the low truck anyway, so they could actually, I watched them, he just dumps it into the truck anyways, right?
and like I said, then there's some things, once the board reads through this, there's gonna be more things, that you might not agree with what we put in there, so.
Yeah, we'll keep reading through it.
Yeah.
That's just my first question
Yep.
tonight, so I'm sure there'll be others. Anyone else, questions for Marty? All right, I'll entertain anyone else have questions on the refuse? Go ahead.
Now, you can't put, like your cardboard out in a bag, garbage bag, correct? Even if it's clear.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just, it's easier at the time of,
Correct. No, I understand, she had mentioned bags, garbage bags,
Yeah.
you know.
but
I
then
just
you'd have
wanted
to
to
dump
make
them.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that,
So the one reason, I'm glad you brought that up, is if you go up to our transfer station, you'll see that that box for recyclables is undercover. So the idea that when wet cardboard goes through packing machines, it does not work properly. So I know the idea that Marty's team goes out there and collects it, and I understand that, but if it's got to the point where you have so much of the cardboard, it'd be feasible for you to bring it up to the facility and dispose of it that way, if it's something that you can put in a clear bag.
right, no, well, my thing is if we're gonna, separate everything, right? I was thinking if you put your cardboard in one and your cans in say a garbage pail, you know, a 45 or 30, whatever you got for recycle, and separate it, would that be more?
I know the preference for our transfer station is, they don't want it in bags.
Right,
And so, the thing is, it's in bags and our guys have to dump it out. That's just a step that really slows them down.
Correct.
We understand if you put them out there, like, I get bored, so I cut up all my boxes.
right,
And I put them in there and I put the cover on, but I know some people, they just don't have the time, so they fold them up as best they can.
Yeah.
It might get rain, they'll still take it.
yeah.
They'll still take it. And so, we don't want it in plastic bags. It's just,
I do have another question.
Yes, sir.
So, recyclable, you mentioned e-waste and metal, so those are free, right? I can drop those off all day long. Cardboard, I can't drop off free, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So that's where the sticker program comes
Okay.
in. So you go up and you can do what we call the combo, where you can do individually. You can buy 5 bags. You can buy, which is a green bag, so you don't even have to go on the scales. You can, you can drive across, tell them you have a green bag, and you just go in, you don't have to come back out. The stickers, there's 5 in a roll for recyclable. And so all of that stuff is a separate building out back of the scale house, and therefore we don't ask for your weight. It's when they come in as a bulk, and that's when it gets weighed.
Great, I appreciate that.
I have one here. Marty, our
right, so now textiles are gonna have to, will have to go in garbage.
Okay.
That's gonna be, right, so now that's gonna drive our tipping fees, sky high.
Especially if you.
So this is another, and this is why the textiles is a big issue. It's, yeah, we don't know what we're, what the answer is gonna be to this.
Hopefully solid waste.
Before, we've had people going up to.
I know, not putting you on the spot, but
Yeah.
hopefully they can come up with.
Yeah, and it's not just here, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all.
Right,
over.
right, it's not just Massena, it's everywhere, right?
The whole
And-
county right now.
And so, with all this going on, so I'm starting to reach out and trying to figure out other avenues that, places that would take,
Well, I don't mean things that are donated, like I've had people reach out, they have ripped clothing or stained clothing and they can't put it in the garbage, so you don't know what to do.
and it's, yeah, and it's kind of like some things that we had a couple weeks ago, somebody had a shower curtain, well, and the guy says, I put it in my garbage gets tagged, I put it in my recycle gets tagged. Well, to us, it didn't belong in the garbage, and it also didn't belong in the recycling according to our code, but actually it's garbage
Right.
up at the transfer station. So, like I said, there's some education that needs to be done, and I think Alan can help us go down that path, because things change, and we need to look at things that, we didn't take, and maybe we're supposed to be putting it, should be putting it in the garbage. I think that would help us in the tagging thing, because our guys have been trained to do this for how many years? Well,
Things have
sometimes you have to
changed.
change some things,
And I've also have a copy of your pamphlet that you provide out to the village, and I'm gonna go back through that and see if there's anything that could be remodified and changed in that to help clear things up, going forward for you, because things have changed on the solid waste division as well.
Thank you.
Currently, there is no limit on the amount of recycle that can be put to the curbside, so with the new language of the local law, are we gonna limit that, or how do you guys wanna do that?
I think that's something we're gonna need to think on and discuss at the next public hearing.
What-
We're ready to make a decision on that tonight. So now, I just encourage everyone to follow the rules as you know them, and we'll come up with a new program. When we do, we'll make sure we do a good job of educating the public on any of the changes that come about. And it's just a matter of time.
We'll have to figure it out before the next public hearing, so we can put it in.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, will you have a definitive pay increase chart for next year? Because that would be nice to be implemented into our,
Yes.
so that.
Yeah, so we have been notified by Dave that their 2025 tipping fees will be going up. We have presented our estimated budget to the county administrator and their team, and once we get notification that it's been accepted, we'll be able to send that down to you. So you have that
Okay,
on record.
super, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on solid waste. Moved by trustee Pete, second. Second by trustee Simpson. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. As I said, we're not gonna adopt any local law tonight. That'll be time for a discussion. If it's okay with everyone else, I'd like to change the agenda. So I'll entertain a motion to reorganize the agenda. What?
Are you gonna establish a new public hearing date for the solid waste?
Yes, at the end.
Um,
Moved by trustee Pete, second. Second by trustee Gallen. I'm just gonna move the initial public comment. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, so we're gonna move the initial public comment period up in front of our reports and officers and committees. And so, just a few friendly reminders. Just make sure you state your name and address for the public record when you speak. Please limit your words to 3 minutes, if you could. I understand some people might go a little bit over, but I hope you can be respectful of the time. Also, when addressing the board, please remember you're addressing the board, not an individual. You're addressing the collective body. Okay? Anyone wishing to address the board? Yes, ma'am. everyone address, and I'm gonna tell you what the board is doing afterwards. I don't wanna try to cut off anybody else. We're taking action, and I'll let everyone know once everyone gets their stuff. Thank you, Sue, I appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to address the board, please? Go ahead.
I'm Haley Johnston.
Hi, Haley.
20 Park Ave. I'm here to address 18 Park Ave. I moved to 20 Park Ave, right next to it, in the beginning of May. Since moving to this neighborhood, I've witnessed domestic violence, drug use, and other criminal activities. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old that have witnessed some of these things. There has been 4 occasions that my family and I have been playing in the backyard and witnessed a female and male fighting outside the apartment complex. 2 out of the 4 occasions I have called the cops. I can't even enjoy playing outside with my family. I also can't let my dogs outside with having to watch them. One morning I let my dog outside and a young woman that lives in the apartment complex let her dog outside without a leash, and the dog came onto my property. Thankfully was friendly to my dog, but the woman was not nice about the situation, and I don't know how she would have reacted if I wasn't there. So I don't even have the luxury of letting out my dogs without having, to watch them. On top of that, I've been woken up in the middle of the night multiple times because of this place. Because of female and male fighting outside. One example, 3 in the morning I woke up, female and male fighting outside, called the cops, they came, fixed the situation. 20 minutes later, back to it, I called the cops, and then they fixed the situation, and then 2 hours later, back to it, I called the cops. This lasted until 6 in the morning, and finally I just went to bed because I had it. Another thing, my boyfriend one morning was leaving for work around 5 in the morning. This man came and approached his vehicle while he was backing out and acted like he was going to try to attack him. My boyfriend rolled down his car window and asked the guy what his problem was. The man backed away from the car and said he was sorry. He thought my boyfriend was the man that tried to jump him that morning. My boyfriend drove away and then called me and made sure to lock all the doors. And my boyfriend doesn't even have the luxury of knowing his family is safe when he leaves the home. And on top of the criminal activity, the place is terrible. The outside of it, there's broken windows, there's trash everywhere. And I have to explain to my 4-year-old why is there trash all over the place. And I hope speaking out about 18 Park Ave will do something. Okay, that's it.
Anyone else wish to speak? Don, you have your hand up?
Yes, Donald Lucas, resident 18 Richter Street here in Massena. I appreciate your attention to my complaints about the apartment on Center Street. It just finally got cleaned up today. But there's an ongoing problem over there. There's 3 trash cans in an apartment building that I don't know how many families live there. And those 3 trash cans are always full with an additional 12 or 15 bags that will sit there all week long. We've got a problem with feral cats in my neighborhood. I can't go sit on my glider on my front porch because the cats are always spraying on it. There ought to be something in the code that if you have an apartment building, you either have a shooting up heroin. I've seen sex on the picnic table down there. I've seen them deposit dead dogs. They've deposit furniture. Now, there's a camera there, and I've seen a lot of activities. In one instance, when Adam Love was chief of police, I noticed that somebody was dropping their car off at the footbridge, but going back up the street to visit somebody. It happened to be a drug dealer, so I kind of figured out what was going on there. I called the police. The car ended up being stolen from Plaska, I think it was. But the activities that go on down there are just amazing. But the cameras don't work half the time. Do we have an issue with the cameras that are installed in Massena and not having enough bandwidth to monitor them?
I can address that. Yes, we do. And it's being addressed. We're under contract right now with a certain company, and we are now looking at changing companies to address that issue with bandwidth. Most of the cameras are working, but inclement weather tend to knock out that Wi-Fi signal. Right now, I can tell you that most of them are working, but we are looking to change vendors when it comes to that, to address that single issue that you have. That is an issue, yes, sir.
I just wanted to bring it to your attention that it is something that there's been a lot of activities going on at that Footbridge Park that I've witnessed, but I could not back it up with the evidence of the camera. And I'm sure it's frustrating for the police department to have their cameras going out, but I think they're very valuable in keeping an eye on. My neighbor had a rototiller stolen, headed down the street, cameras up. They might have been able to identify either the person that was dragging it away or where they may have been going. But that's my concern, is the cameras, and there ought to be some kind of code that if you've got so many people in a building, you have adequate trash receptacles, and the idea that on Sunday night you start piling it up for the week, it just shouldn't be going on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Dennis Kemison, 54 Woodlawn, Massena. I go to the VMA a lot, and the building next door to it, there's more trash out there than I think they got at the village dump. And the dump is cleaner. I can't imagine why we're letting them get away with, and I've turned this in, okay, about them with the garbage. And what they do is they got a box out there, and they don't ever empty that box. And tenants are too lazy to pick up the cover and put the garbage in the box. Well, they just fill the box and then leave it. Somebody comes along and rips the front off in it. Of course, then all the animals string it all over the parking lot. It's crazy. Place is full of drug addicts. The chief came to the VMA one day to take out one of them because they didn't want to leave the restaurant. This was a while back. This was, what's that?
I did.
I'm pretty sure it was, wasn't you? Okay, then, it was somebody, it was another officer that came there and did it. This garbage thing is really getting out of hand. You drive down the road, you see garbage all over. People just don't care. And part of it is with the homeless doing it also. And even with the cameras at the footbridge, if you catch them shooting up, what can you really do?
Well, if it's gone, nothing.
Nothing, right. And
Absolutely nothing.
99% of the time,
If you catch them with it in possession before they ingest it whatever way they choose,
right,
then it's a small misdemeanor crime, and they get an appearance ticket. They don't.
no, nobody goes to jail anymore.
Very frustrating.
And it is for use. And when I hear people like, for instance, you guys going to 18 Park all the time, 100 times in so such a length of time, and they say, well, the police never do nothing. Well, you just can't do nothing, because your hands are tied.
We can only do what the law allows us to do.
That's it. Well, you see, the same with landlords, okay? That goes along with landlords too. Because when you put a tenant in, and I'm not saying all landlords, okay, or all tenants, but when you put a tenant in, you hope you have a good one. Next thing you know, you tell them no pets. Next thing you know, they got pets. Well, who's gonna spend $2,000 to evict them? So they just say to heck with it. You know? And when you do take them to court, well, that's another whole escapade there, because they don't do nothing.
Don't disagree with you.
You know? And I bought an apartment building, two-family, that her tenant hadn't paid rent in 5 years because they wouldn't evict them up. The courts wouldn't put her out. That's, you know, that's crazy. And then landlords get to the point where they just say, the heck with it, I ain't doing nothing. You know? Why do something and spend the money? You're trying to recoup your money back.
I wish, guys, I wish I could snap my fingers and make
Oh.
it all better.
No, I understand that. And back years ago, back when the chief was Tim Courier and the mayor was Jimmy Heidi, the three of us went to Malone, and there is a nuisance law about apartment houses on the books, or there should be.
There's one here too.
Yes.
I'll
Well,
address
that's what I'm saying.
I'm
It
gonna
was
address it
for
very
here.
shortly.
Yeah. Okay,
My 2 cents is,
thanks.
when the state elections come up, think about that, right?
Oh, I agree, totally.
Think about that, so I'll leave it at that.
I totally agree.
Thanks, Dennis. Anyone else wishing to address the board? You gotta- Go ahead, and then you break on.
I'm property manager for this board, it's not that, I do not disagree at all. Only, so the people in that building, the two that are actually tenants, they came with the bill. The one who left state left me with 2 squatters. That's the couple that are always fighting. I tried to have them removed, but they have squatters' rights, and it's very impossible almost. And I have been having to deal with somebody, and he wanted them out. I called the police, they said that there's nothing, that he would have to evict them. He can't evict, and then I have to evict everybody in that apartment. Like, I feel like if the gentleman on the lease, and they haven't been there 30 days, if the gentleman on the lease wants these guys gone, I feel like they should be removed. Maybe I'm wrong, that's how I feel. I've been to court for the couple I have on Center Street. Same paperwork I did for them in Massena, I did for a couple in Norfolk. I did paperwork the same for both because it was non-paying. Norfolk's went through, Massena's got kicked back. I still have this trouble with tenants that are always disrupting the building. I tried. I'm going down the park at 11 o'clock at night, kicking in doors because I'm at my frustration just as bad. I mean, it's not, I've tried to talk to Whitney about condemning it, so that way, most of the people in there are squatters. If I move with 2 gentlemen in there that, room together into another place, condemn it and fix it from the ground up, and that way, if someone's in there, it's not really squatters' rights, right? I can have them removed for trespassing.
But it shouldn't be on you, it should be on the owner
I
himself.
realize.
And I feel grateful you're trying, but it really should be him that is doing this. So we'll address that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am?
My name is Joanne Ash, I live at 14 Park Avenue, right next door to 18 Park Avenue. And it's been longer than 8 months that this has been going on. And everything that they have said, we have seen, we've heard, we've dealt with. I have made some police calls. It is sad. And I understand that you say squatter right, but can't we say that they're trespassing? Why why can't you use the other term?
It's squatters' rights are a thing unique to New York.
But if somebody calls and says, hey, someone's in the building, they're not supposed to be there trespassing, that's a whole different,
As long as it's done within the first, I'm sorry, chief, is it 2 weeks or
Well,
3 weeks?
there's several problems with that. If the person resides there and has established a residency, then the police have no authority to remove them. They would have to be evicted through the civil process.
so they would
If-
have to establish it by making it in
Mail, or they've lived there for 30 days or longer.
Because I'm seeing, you know, a turnover every 2 or 3 months.
There's another part.
There's a whole new
Yeah.
batch of people in all
And
those rooms.
if somebody invites somebody over there as a guest,
Right,
we have no authority to remove them
and I mean,
from that.
and the dumpster is now moved, so it's between my building and their building. I'm having mice, and now I'm worried about rats coming. There are plenty of cats living around that I don't hate animals, but
If there's a dumpster on your property,
it's actually right between our 2 properties, so
I
like
would
my,
just have it removed. That's, really, the police can't do much about
Right.
that. I mean, we really deal with the criminal element.
right. Well, they were
So-
dumpster diving this morning at 5:30. And, you know, yeah, and I see there's,
It's
you know,
not a
they
crime
leave
to
needles
take
out
them
on that
down.
driveway. It's just very hard.
I know. It's
So I do
difficult, and
hope that
understand your
something is
frustration.
done, you know, the dog barking, you know, it's just, it is, somebody,
Screaming at the corner of our building.
Yeah.
You gotta call us every time.
and we do, and the thing is we know it's a problem, but
There's
it had,
probably been
when
about
does
a
it
dozen
stop?
people we have saved their lives by calling the police because they're laying on the road. Laying literally 3 o'clock in the morning, laying there, just shaking on the road.
It's unfortunate.
Thursday I called, and it was 5:30 in the morning, and one of the gentlemen was on his bike, and literally got off his bike, and he's ramming the bike into the girl. And I'm like, you know, this is not cool, you know,
The stress is
the
getting to be a
windows
bit
are all
too much for
smashed,
this place,
and
you know.
now there's people living
They're ready to
in the
move.
bottom apartment again, and, you know, they're crawling in and out of the windows. It's ridiculous.
I understand your frustration, but you have to understand that the police are very limited to what we can do, and we have to act within the law. And my officers put themselves at risk of getting arrested, getting charged, getting sued. And they're not going to do that. I'm not gonna have them do that. I'm not gonna have them put themselves in that.
I totally
We're
agree.
gonna work within the law. There's a process. Unfortunately, that process can take time. And I can understand, listen, I wouldn't wanna live there.
I mean, I love the house and
I know.
but it's just, I mean, you can't choose your neighbors, I get that,
Can't
I do.
choose your
And I try to just ignore it and let it be and not make any more trouble than I need to. I don't
Yeah.
engage.
We can't even use the outside of the house anymore.
I know.
And we found a guy hiding in our
They're
bushes.
In the building back there.
I think I'm gonna reiterate what Mr. McGowan said. When election time comes, you need to really, really think about who you're electing.
I would suggest.
These problems are created out of Albany.
Well,
I
we
would
wanna
suggest
know,
you pick up, I want to interrupt, but I would suggest you pick up the phone to our elected state officials and say, this is what's going on in my house. And the village is doing everything, and the mayor's gonna get into that. I apologize for
No,
interrupting,
that's
but
fine.
you've gotta pick up the phone.
I hope that you come
It's,
up with something and tell us what we can do in order, I don't care about signing petitions and writing letters and calling people. But we need to know what we can do, because enough is enough.
It's averaging 3 to 4 nights a week, there's something going on there. And it's, like I said, it's just getting out of hand. And also the people that turn up Park Avenue, floor it from the bottom of the hill, over the hill, or coming down the hill, or going on Birch, just flooring it. I mean, I seen one guy go up that street so fast, he almost killed an old couple coming off a side street, just flooring it right up that hill.
I'll just add on, and I've already mentioned this before. I live on Bridges, it's well known where I live. There's a property kitty corner from me. It was 2 weeks ago, we watched the show, right? We watched the show. And then the next day, he must have got evicted or whatever, because there was a truck in the yard and half in the road. For 2 days, my wife and I watched the show. This property owner owns a number of these houses in the village. So, and we get it. It's not as bad as that, but it was quite the show, right? So,
Just like the guy took out the pole last year on that corner, going 50. Slid right off the road, took out the telephone pole, hit the other side by the cemetery. Try to get up as far as you can go, and he conked out, you know? And then the utilities had to come in and work on that for 2-3 days to get a pole in the ground in the middle of winter. Yeah, I mean, luckily nobody got killed, you know?
All right, we have some people online that would like to speak. Who's first? Mary? Mary Skelly?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mary.